Hey guys, Lord Naruto here, and sorry it took me I've been off for a month. Since school starts for me, I'm gonna be posting a little bit less, but anyway, this is a new what if that I thought of. So this is, what if Naruto was experimented on? And we're gonna start this off during the Sasuke rescue mission. And yeah, we see Naruto just and the rest of the team just running after it. The Silent Four, plus Sasuke and that basket thing that pretty much helped him gain more control of his curse mark. So yeah, and yeah, in the face would be pretty much the same as canon. The only thing that is different at the moment is that Kurama is more willing. Well, the Nine Tails, as he's known right now, he's more willing to help Naruto. And once Naruto finally fights off against Sasuke, it pretty much happens exact same. And once he gets back, pretty much everyone in the village except Kakashi, Sasuke, because yeah, he literally only wanted to leave for power. Shikamaru, Choji, and Neji, Tenten, my guy, Rock Lee, and Ino. So yeah, those are the people that are gonna don't betray him. And yeah, pretty much everyone else. Yeah, just make it simple. He gets beaten to death and thrown out of the village. But then he gets, and while he's still near death's door, while Karma's trying to heal him up, because he can't have his vessel die on him. A shadowy figure grabs Naruto and has a evil grin on his face and takes him into some sort of place. When Naruto wakes up, he's in a tube, right beside something. That's all he can tell. Then we hear the shadowy figure being like, ah, finally, I have someone I can find. I finally have a subject for this theory of mine. Now let's see if it actually works. And then the tests begin. Naruto, what? And it looks like this. Man? Girl? He can't tell. On his left door, he feels something go to him. And surprisingly, it feels like whatever this is willingly going inside of him. In this person, which I'm just gonna name the mad scientist, doesn't even realize this and just makes Naruto's time there a loving hell. And yeah, And if you guys are wondering what pretty much went into Naruto easily, I will show you. In the thing that Naruto saw was actually this boy right here. And we will learn his name later on. Just know he is a very powerful man. And yeah. And let's just say after a year of doing this, the mad scientist thought he failed. And just left him there to rot. And yeah, he still looked like himself. But his soul looked like this. And yeah, just gonna tell you guys now. If you didn't figure it out yet, if you saw that. I'm pretty much gonna make it so the Undertale universe and the Naruto universe are one and the same. And also one more universe, but I ain't gonna spoil that yet. So, yeah. During that year, Naruto would be talking to this monster. And yeah, Kurama would finally learn about the monsters. And yeah, Kurama got really close to Naruto because yeah. Seeing that happen to a human that he thought he should hate, but this Naruto still only shows pure happiness towards the fox. That reminded him of his father, and he wanted to get closer to the boy. And yeah, he got close enough to where, yeah, Naruto sees Kurama as an older brother. And yeah, both Kurama, which Naruto knows him as now, and Naruto would, after like 2 months, would finally meet the monster. And yeah, when they first met the monster, oh, excuse me. Yeah, when they first met the monster, Kurama was on the defensive and pretty much just covering Naruto with his tails. But yeah, Naruto literally didn't feel any malice coming from this person or monster, as we all know them as. And yeah, Naruto would just walk around and Kurama's tails and just go straight up to the monster, and it kind of cares, but a bit scared way he would ask, who are you? And yeah, the monster would go on to one of his knees and just get to Naruto's level and just give off the best smile he can, which surprisingly was kind of bright. And yeah, then the monster would say, and this monster would sound like this. I am Zentaro. I was known as the Skeleton King. I I am a monster. And yeah, Kurama and Naruto would just have a confused look and just be like, and yeah, Naruto would just have a completely confused look and be like, "You don't look like a monster to me." He would say that tilting his head, and yeah, then Xanatos Zentaru would be like, "Ah, this makes more sense." Well, and he would look at Kurama and see that, yeah, he's confused too, and be like, seems like I need to give both of you a history lesson. Sit down, this would take a while. And yeah, after Zentaru finally finishes about the lesson of monsters and what happened to them, and how he pretty much almost died, and why, and how he somehow got captured, Kurama would just like, damn, those damn humans, always just using the creatures for their own gain. And yeah, Naruto would then be like, hey. And yeah, and Kurama would just be like, except you, Naruto. And yeah, then Naruto would then pop the question, how are you here, Zenitaru? Yeah. Then Zenitaru would then say, remember that thing you felt go into you 2 months ago? And the thing on the body next to you disappear. And yet Naruto would be like, yeah? And Zenitaru would be like, that was me. We're now to tell you the one thing most monsters feared. And humans, that the one thing humans feared of us monsters. And yeah, and he would tell it. But he would also say it can also work the other way around. And this is the way to do it. And yeah, Naruto was like, and am I even human? And yeah, Sentaro would then say, yes and no. You are human, but you're also not. You are now a monster, but also not as well. You are a completely new race put together. And yeah, the Naruto was like, then what should I do? And yeah, then Zentaro would then say, first, I will teach you how to control my abilities. In Naruto, I am the strongest of my type of race. I am a skeleton. The Skeleton King, one of the strongest of them. In Naruto. And yet, Naruto look up at him, as Zenitaro would stand back up. And Naruto was like, yeah? I want you to help. I have only one request from you. And yeah, Naruto was like, what is it? Free my people from their prison. And yeah, Naruto was like, Yeah, of course. And yeah, Zentaro would just give off a smile and be like, good. Now, I believe both me and the fox have some things to teach you. And yeah, we get back to the present. And yeah, after a year, yeah, we would, yeah, and at that time, our soul started to change a lot and just start changing into something more of of what race he is now, which is neither a monster or a human, kind of both. And if you guys have an idea for the name for this race, yeah, and yeah, and throughout the rest of that year, Zentaro and Kurama would teach Naruto everything. And during that time, both Kurama and Zentaro would figure out that, yeah, Naruto has his own. Well, no. Yeah. Zentaro and Kurama would find out that, yeah, surprisingly, he is really good with weapons. And also, since he's now kind of both a monster and a human, for some reason, he gained twice the amount of chakra he would have if he didn't have Kurama. And yeah, Zentaro would be like, so, it seems this chakra increased by 2. Interesting. In your magic, it's greater. The amount of magic you have, it's far greater than mine. You truly have great potential, Naruto. And yet, Naruto wouldn't say, thank you, Zentaro. And Zentaro just ruffling his hair and be like, it isn't, it isn't, it is no problem, Naruto. And he'll give a smile. And yeah. Then by the end of that year, we're gonna skip one more year, and Naruto's body started to change slowly. And eventually, after that second year is up, his body would change to this. And yeah, and Zentaro wouldn't be like, Zentaro would be like, Naruto, check your soul. It might have changed after your transformation. And yeah, Kurama would be like, I'm interested in this as well. This magic. It's interesting. And yeah, Naruto would check his soul, and it would look like this. And yeah, Naruto would be like, whoa. And yeah, Zentaro would be like, this is the first time ever I've seen a soul like this. There's no... Now, let's get out of here, Naruto. Then Kurama would lie. Yeah, let's get out of here, Naruto. This place stinks. And yeah, Naruto was like, yeah, you guys are right. And yeah. And then he would escape, and some type of alarm would go off. And Naruto would be like, well, let's see how well I do. And yeah, he would just rampage throughout the lab. And yeah, and then he would find a weapon. And yeah, Naruto was like, And yeah, Zentaro was like, Naruto, pick him up. It was a weapon that I used to use before my death. And yeah, and he would say that with quotation marks. And yeah, Naruto was like, yeah. And yeah, and he would pick up the blades. And the blades would be this one. Yeah. And yeah, Zentaro was like, Naruto, I want to test a theory out. And yeah, he's like, yeah, what is it? Put your chakra and magic into the blades. See what happens. And yeah, Naruto would do so, and they would light up before merging together, creating this scythe. And yeah, Naruto was like, whoa, cool. And yeah, Naruto. And yeah, Kurama would be like, that is quite interesting. And yeah, Naruto. And yeah, Sentaro was like, so my theory was correct. I knew my blades were incomplete. I just didn't know what was missing. Now I know. And yeah, then Naruto was like, that's cool. And yeah, once he got those blades, he would kill everyone there. And yeah. And yeah. And if you're guys are wondering about his powers for magic, just pretty much imagine Saiyan's power is times 100. And this is his Gaster Blaster. This is his projectile bones. And he can make a bone sword. And yeah. Naruto's like, I think it's time to get out of here. His internal Kurama was like, at the same time would say, agreed. And yeah, and Naruto went around out of that lab and find himself near a mountain. Like, only like 2 miles away from it. And yeah. Zentaro was like, this makes us a whole lot easier for us. Come on, Naruto. That's the mountain I've told you to about. And yeah, Kurama was like, so this is where the monsters are imprisoned. And yeah, Naruto was like, I guess, let's check it out. And yeah, and they would walk into the cave of the mountain, and they would see a deep hole. And yeah, Naruto was like, so what do I do now? And Shintaro would be like, jump down. And Naruto was like, okay. And yeah, and he would jump down. And the moment he would land, it wouldn't hurt him at all. And also, before he left the lab, he took a piece of clothing. And that would be... And yeah, the clothing would look like this. So, yeah. Like, alright, let's get to this king. And yeah, Naruto was like, and Zentaro would be like, yes, but first, Naruto, remember this. You're please carry on my name. And yeah, Naruto was like, of course. And yeah, Naruto was like, and I've forgotten to mention my my full name. And yeah, Naruto was like, what is it? And yeah, Karma would be interested as well. Then Zentaro would say, WD Zentaro. And yeah, Naruto was like, okay. And my name will be Naruto WD Uzumaki. And yeah, Zentaro was smiling, like, that sounds perfect. And yeah, Karma didn't say, it does, it does have a good ring to it. And yeah, Naruto was like, now let's get going. And yeah, and you just walk in, and yeah, you wouldn't see a flower. Well, actually, yeah, you would see a talking flower, and yeah, Naruto would just be like, would think in his head, Zentaro, are there any talking flowers among your race? And yeah, Zentaro would be like, no. And yeah, and then the flower do it, and then be like, hi, I'm Flower, Flower the flower, and then do his all, and yeah, and be like, he must be new down here, aren't ya? And yeah, Naruto, yeah, and yeah, that mask is his face, so remember that. And yeah, Naruto would literally just walk past him. And yeah, then I would be like, hey, I'm not done talking to you. And yeah, Flowey didn't be like, you know what? I'll just take your soul. Because yeah, Flowey does not can't recognize if this is a monster or not. So yeah, he thinks it's human. And yeah, Naruto. And yeah, he does know he's a master at sealing, and he is a master at swordsmanship. And yeah, and he would just immediately summon one of his blades from one of his heels and just cut the pellet in half. And then puts the blade back in his seal and just continues walking inside the ruins. And yeah. And he would eventually reach the home. And yeah, he would meet all those monsters and just be on the defensive, never harming them. And Perrin just going mercy as pacifist. He's going as trying to be as passive as possible. And yeah, with Natsubuke, he pretty much just compliments him on the things he's observing about this ghost. And yeah, and he would reach Tario's house. And yeah, well, in a house, which we know as Tario's house. And yeah, Naruto being polite, because yeah, Zentaro did make sure to make him polite and gentlemanlike. And yeah, Zentaro is pretty much like a father figure to him. And yeah, Naruto politely would knock on the door as gently as possible. And yeah, Torio would hear it and be like, and she would open the door to see what she thinks as a human and be like, oh my, hey, forgive me, my child, I must be late. And yeah, Naruto being polite would be like, it is no problem, but why do you call me your child? And yeah, Toyo would be kind of set back by how deep his voice is. And yeah, Naruto. Yeah, and she wouldn't respond to that, and Naruto would let that pass and be like, "May I come in?" And yeah, she'd be like, "Oh, of course." And yeah, and she would let him in, and yeah, Naruto wouldn't look around and be like, "So, how long have you been in these ruins?" And yeah, Naruto would be like, "Oh, don't mind that. Oh, don't ask silly questions like that." And yeah, Naruto would just be like, "Hmm, very well." "So, who are you?" And yeah, she's like, "Oh, forgive me. My name is Torio, caretaker of the ruins." And yet, Naruto would be like, hmm. If excuse me, I will exit these ruins. And yet, Torio could just be like, well, actually, no, he would just be like, which way is the way out of the ruins? And she would try to change the subject, but yeah, Naruto would be persistent, and yeah, she would say, I have to do something. I'll be right back. And yeah, Naruto would just follow her. And yeah, Naruto would just and be like, hmm. So this is what you were gonna do. Destroy the door so no one could ever leave. Don't you think that's a little bit rude? Especially to the people in the ruins. I will not let you. If you wish to pass, you will have to go through me. I will not let. If you come through here, the people outside will try to kill you. And Score would try to kill you. And yeah. Then Naruto would then say, he would cross his arms and then just close his eyes. He was like, I am well prepared. And his eyes would glow glow red, and kind of have that same effect as Saiyan's eyes. And yeah, Torio would pursue that same fight. And yeah, Naruto would get into that fight. And yeah, he would do nothing but mercy at her. And yeah, then at the end when she asked why, Naruto would be like, to bring freedom to the monsters. And yeah, Torio's kind of shocked. But this human, in her eyes, wants to free the monsters. And she's like, why? It's like, because I see all the things must have freedom. And yeah, and he'll just pat her head and just give her a slight hug and be like, and the way you wanted me to stay. It seems you have lost multiple children. Most possibly your own son as well. And he would just walk out, and Toyo would be kind of shocked that he guessed that correctly. And yeah, Naruto would just be like, there's a camera there. Anyway, let's continue. And he would just keep walking, and yeah, he would step over the twig that would be on the ground, and yeah, he would stop at that kind of big gateway, and Naruto would just say out loud, "It's a little bit too big to stop anyone." And then since he would do his thing, and then a skeleton would do his thing, and then Naruto would just turn around and shake his hand, and yeah. And then the skeleton was like, whoopshin in the hand check. It's always funny, and yeah, Naruto, and yeah, all Saiyans would get from Naruto was a little chuckle. And yeah, Naruto, then the skeleton was like, name Sans the skeleton. And Naruto would be like, and you know, Naruto would just Naruto would just give a happy expression towards Sans, would be like, Naruto. And yeah, then Naruto would be like, remember, in Naruto's head, Naruto would be like, remember, Naruto, my descendants are skeletons. And yeah, then Naruto would then say, the name's Naruto, and then he would open one eye and light it up how Sans eye would do it, but red. Naruto W.D. Uzumaki. And yet, Sans would inside would be shocked on how someone has it on, has the WD, like WD Gasser, and yeah. Sans wouldn't say stay about he should be hunting down for humans, but yeah. And Naruto would just, and yeah. He's kind of surprised that this monster right here hasn't realized he's kind of not a monster, or he's kind of not human. And yeah, and he'll just walk through that big gap of a gate, and yeah. You want to go to an not convenient lamp, because yeah, he's as tall as Asgore. So yeah. Naruto didn't. And yeah, but Papyrus would just be like, is that a human? And yeah, before Sans could say anything, Naruto wouldn't say. Naruto didn't just say, no, I am not human. And yeah, Sans was actually surprised. And yeah, Papyrus was like, yeah, damn it. And yet, then Naruto did that, but I'm also not a monster. And yeah, this would surprise both of them. Then Sans was thinking, what the hell is he? And Papyrus was like, what are you? And Naruto would then scratch his head and was like, honestly, I don't know myself. Anyway. Since I'm talking about not human, and you two are sentries, and yeah. Could one of you show me around this town, since I'm totally new here, and yeah. Sans was like, sure, I got that covered, and yeah. Papyrus would kind of be surprised, and be like, lazy ones actually doing something? Yeah. No, I could just be like, lazy bones. And yeah, just tilting his head in confusion. And yeah, his hair is that long. And yeah, Naruto. And yeah. And yeah, then Sans would do another pun, and then Papyrus would do his own pun, and then Rolf saying, yeah. And yeah, Naruto would just like, so. That was quite interesting. Anyway, you said you would show me around this town, yes? And Sans was like, yeah, come on. And yeah, then Sans was like, come on, I know a shortcut. And yeah, then Naruto would say, you lead, I follow. And yes, Sans was like, alright. And yeah, and Naruto would just touch his shoulder, and yeah, they would teleport to Snowden. And yeah, Naruto was like, so this is what this account is called, Snowden. So I was like, yeah. Anyway. And yeah, and you take a trip and give then Sans will give Naruto a tour around Snowden. And yeah, Naruto was like, So, is there any place where we'll be able to eat? And yeah. Sans was like, oh yeah, Grillies. Come on. I like it. And yeah, Naruto like, would just say, hopefully. And yeah, they would walk in. And yeah, Sans would be greeted by all the monsters in there. And Naruto would just sit down right beside him. But before you would do anything, you would see the whoopee cushion spend his day, and just grab it from the seat, and then just toss it outside. And then he would sit down, and then he would just order a cheeseburger. And yeah, Naruto would like, and yeah, once he took a bite out of it, Naruto would be like, this is good. But too much ingredients are added to it. And yeah, then Sans would ask if he's ever heard of a talking flower, and then he would talk about that. Yeah, Naruto would raising his eyebrows a bit, and then then Sans would talk about the echo flowers, and then but Pirates talked about. And yeah, then Naruto would Naruto would then just say, that does not sound like an echo flower to me. Sans the skeleton. And yet, Sans would be like, then get a suspicious look and be like, what does it sound like to you? And yeah, Naruto wouldn't be like, have you ever seen a flower with this description? And yeah, he would pretty much tell the exact description of flower to flower. And yeah, Sans was like, I thought I saw a glimpse of a flower like that, but no. Like, that must be the flower the Papyrus is talking about. Make sure Papyrus is safe around that flower. It could be dangerous. And yeah, then Sharon's like, since you don't really have anywhere else to stay, how about you stay out at my house? And yeah, then Naruto was like, that's Toad would be grateful. And yeah, Sam's like, alright, let's go. And yeah, he'll just teleport to the front of their house. And yeah. And yeah, Sans would just open the door and walk in, but yeah. Naruto would just wait there for seconds and then say, may I come in? And yeah. Sans was like, and yeah. And yeah, then Sans would be thinking, so we have a gentleman, and a gentleman, nice. And yeah. Sans was like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, sure. And yeah. Naruto would walk in and yeah. And he would just sit on the couch and yeah, we didn't sit right next to him. Like, so what exactly are you? Giving him a serious look. He's like, and how do you know that and how do you have WG D in your name? And yeah. Naruto would be like, I guess you could call me a experiment of a human. And yet Sans would kind of glare at him. Naruto like, a human try. I was once human. A human force tried to make a completely separate race from monsters and humans, but he thought he failed. But he succeeded more than he thought. As for my WD name, that is part of the name of the monster I am bonded with. It might be lots of time. But not like one of his descendants. His name was Zentaro, WD Zentaro. And yeah, Sans wouldn't know his name at all. And yeah, Naruto was like, yeah, and yeah, it would be talking for hours, and yeah, Papyrus would finally be back, and yeah, would finally come into the house, and yeah, Papyrus would be like, Sans, where are you, lazy bones? And yeah, Naruto would just like, Naruto would just look at him and be like, oi, and yeah, Papyrus will look and see the so-called lazy bones just looking at Naruto while Naruto looks at Papyrus. And yeah, Papyrus would be like, there you are, lazy bones. And yeah, Naruto would then say, well, this lazy bones has been talking to me for hours without being lazy about it. And yeah, then we skip 2 days, and yeah, Naruto like, and yeah, Naruto's kind of gotten to the point where yeah, he's friends with everyone in Snowden, and yeah, he's like, forgive me, people of Snowden, but I will be leaving this part of the underground. I may visit you in the future, and yeah, all of them would wait behind, yeah. And yeah, here we get to the part where, yeah, and then start trying to chase him and get him because she thinks he's human. And yeah, Naruto. And yeah, Naruto would be hiding in the bushes, trying not to be seen. He was, you know. You're trying to be a pacifist right now. And yeah. And surprisingly, he's doing it pretty easily. And yeah, and then that monster with monster, yeah, and then Monster Kid would be fanboying about Undyne, and yeah, Naruto would just like, what are you thinking? She must be that good if she's getting this, if this boy's fanboying after just meeting me. And yeah, then Naruto would just separate from Monster Kid, but Monster Kid would just follow him. And yeah, during the time that he's been in the underground, Karma Wolf told him whose heritage is. Yeah, Naruto would, and that's one of the reasons why he holds his Uzumaki name proudly. And yeah, then we get to the part where yeah, the first time Undyne chases him, and yeah, Naruto, we just stand still and just keep dodging her attacks. And yeah, she would keep talking about the human souls thing, and yeah, Naruto wouldn't be like, wouldn't just stop, and then once her spear went straight towards him, he got onto it and just broke it to pieces. And just been like, how can I convince you that I'm not a human? And yeah, but and Undyne would be like, if you're not human, shoot magic at me. And yeah, Naruto would be like, as you wish. And yeah, he would summon like 100 bone projectiles and shoot all of them at Undyne. And yeah, she would figure out quickly, not human. And yeah, Undyne would be like, sorry, I thought you were human. And yeah, Naruto would be like, it's fine. Now, would it be possible if I were able to talk to the king? And yeah, Undyne would be like, no. And yeah, Naruto would be like, looks like I'm going there by foot then. And I know you can't stop me. And yeah, he would just walk away, get to Heartland, get to the lab, and yeah. Alphys. And yeah, once he saw Alphys, he would just look at her and be like, So a lizard monster? And yeah, you're just tilting his head, kind of confused with this, yeah. And yeah, Zentaro would be like, oh, no. And yeah, and he would actually tell Naruto what type of monster Alpha 6, and yeah. Or the Naruto would be like, it would be thinking, thank you, Zentaro, and yeah. Like, you're welcome, and yeah. Kurama would just pop in and be like, there's there is so many type of monsters in your race, Zentaro. And yeah, Zentaro would just chuckle about it. And there sure is, and yeah. And Alpha would do her thing, and then the killer robot would pop in, and yeah. And the robot would immediately think that he's human. And yeah, Naruto would just like, this is fucking annoying. Every damn person here is thinking I'm a freaking human. And yeah, Alpha should be like, wait, you're not? And like, no. Do I look remotely like a human at all? And yeah, Alpha's like, now that I think about it, no. Like, at least some of you can figure that out. Now I'll be on my way. And he would make it to, yeah, and yeah, he would pretty much finally, and after a little bit, he finally reached Asgore. And yeah, Asgore would be like, so you're the person that all my subjects have been speaking of. And yeah, Naruto would be like, yes, and you are King Asgore, the ruler of these people. And you have collected 6 souls, yes? And yeah, Asgore would be like, So it seems my judge and allows you to pass. And like, Of course he would have that job. And yeah, Naruto would just be like, Asgore, I wish to help your people out of it. Yeah, and before Asgore could do anything, Naruto didn't say, before you do anything rash, I will say this once. What I want is to help your people free. And yeah, Asgore would kind of be shocked. And like, and before you ask, no, I am not human. But I am not a monster either. You could say I'm both at the same time, neither. Now, and yet, and he would use his magic and connect with all the human souls and be like, so, these are the fallen humans. And yeah, all 6 souls would appear. Naruto would be like, so, will you help me destroy this barrier? Fallen children. And yeah, all of them would agree because, yeah, they can see that he's partly human, but also not. And yeah, they would finally be free. And yeah, Asgore would gonna be crying of joy. And then Naruto would be like, it's time to notify your subjects of their freedom. And that's where I'm going to end it off for now. Anyway, if you guys like this, let's subscribe and